You know, when you look at Thailand in 2026, you're looking at a country right at this fascinating, critical crossroads. On the surface, you see one story, but if you dig just a little bit deeper, a completely different and honestly a much more radical picture starts to emerge. Okay, let's dive right into this massive transformation. So, if you just read the headlines, the story seems pretty straightforward. Economic fragility. You've got high household debt that's really weighing down spending, and the big picture growth numbers look, well, kind of sluggish. But that's not the real story here. The real story for Thailand in 2026 is this deliberate, super high stakes pivot away from its old economic model and toward a future built on high tech and digital innovation. It's really a tale of two different economies living in the same country. And look, this fragility isn't just some vague feeling, it's a number. Projections from folks at the IMF and the Bank of Thailand are putting GDP growth for the year at a very modest 1.6%. This slow pace is the very thing that's forcing the government to make such bold moves. Sticking with the status quo? Yeah, that's just not an option anymore. So you gotta ask, what's driving this massive shift? Well, it really all comes down to two foundational realities that are shaping the country's choices: a brand new political landscape and a really profound demographic change. Let's break those down. First up, politics. The general election back in February 2026 marked a pretty significant shift. The conservative Boomjay Thai Party came out as the dominant political force. What this means is you now have a government that favors these pragmatic, state-led development plans and huge infrastructure projects, which it turns out is the perfect political engine for an ambitious economic overhaul. Second, the people. Now, this one is arguably even more transformative than any election result. In 2026, 20%, one-fifth of Thailand's entire population is now over the age of 60. The country has officially become what they call a super-aged society, and that creates this immense pressure on the workforce and the economy to get more productive and more innovative fast. So here's the crucial takeaway. You've got a new government with the political will to build, and you've got a demographic clock that is ticking loudly. These twin realities are the backdrop for everything else we're about to talk about. They are forcing Thailand to gamble on a completely new economic identity. And that brings us to the gamble itself. To escape that classic middle-income trap and really thrive in this new reality, Thailand is betting big on what it calls the three pillars of its new economy. And here they are, the three pillars, each one a piece of a bigger, unified strategy. First, build a sovereign digital economy that's driven by AI. Second, totally revitalize the smart electronics and semiconductor industry to get control over key hardware. And third, go all in on becoming a regional hub for electric vehicles. It's clear, it's focused, and it is an incredibly ambitious strategy. Now hold on, because when we talk about AI in 2026, we're not just talking about chatbots that can read an email for you. The real leap here is to what's called agentic AI. This is AI that doesn't just generate content. It basically functions like an autonomous executive, making its own decisions and taking its own actions. This is the technology sitting at the absolute core of Thailand's digital dreams. But, with that kind of power comes enormous risk. As experts like Fansak Seth Satera from PwC are pointing out, once AI starts acting on its own, you just can't treat it like any other piece of software. Building trust and having really strong governance around it, that becomes the most important job of all. It's non-negotiable. And what's so wild is that you can already see this pivot happening in the data. The digital economy is absolutely booming. Even related sectors like private hospitals for that aging population, they're growing fast too. But meanwhile, traditional pillars of the economy like rice exports are actually stagnating. This is that K-shaped transition in action, where one part of the economy, the upward arm of the K, is soaring, while the other, the downward arm, is falling behind. It's a clear split between the old and the new. Now, a massive industrial gamble like this, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's creating this huge ripple effect across the entire country, changing everything from corporate culture to how Thailand actually welcomes the world. So in the world of sustainability, for example, the new mantra is from targets to traction. For years, companies just talked about their goals. But in 2026, investors, customers, and regulators, they're not asking what you plan to do anymore. They're asking what you have actually done. Real, demonstrable progress is the only thing that matters now. And this isn't just some theory. The country's Biocircular Green Model, or BCG model, is turning this whole idea into reality. Agricultural waste products that used to just be thrown away are now being transformed into high-value exports, things like bioplastics, bioenergy, and advanced biomaterials. It's a perfect example of turning a traditional strength into a future-proof industry. And this image here, it just captures that connection perfectly, doesn't it? You can see how the BCG model isn't about abandoning Thailand's agricultural heritage at all. It's about intelligently connecting it to a modern, sustainable, and profitable industrial future. This reinvention, it extends so far beyond just factories and farms. Thailand is fundamentally rethinking its relationship with the global community, especially when it comes to attracting tourism and talent. And this new welcome is being put into action through a radical overhaul of its visa system. Visa-free entry has been expanded to 93 countries, but the real game changers are these new visas, like the Destination Thailand visa for digital nomads, and new rules that let foreign students actually work while they study. The goal isn't just about short-term tourists anymore, it's about attracting long-term residents, contributors, and innovators. And they're attracting them with this really powerful cultural pull, something they've dubbed the T-Wind. It's built on what they call the 5 Fs, the cultural exports of food, film, festivals, fighting, and fashion. And together, these have become a multi-billion-dollar industry and a massive source of global influence. A perfect symbol of this new global role is Phuket hosting Interpride in 2026. This is the first time this major global conference has ever been held in Asia, and it's just a powerful statement about Thailand's position as this modern, open, and inclusive hub for international culture. Okay, so with all these ambitious plans in motion, we have to ask the big question. What does the road ahead actually look like? Is this high-stakes gamble going to pay off? The challenges are immense, no doubt about it. That high household debt still acts as a brake on the economy. A staggering 56% of the entire workforce needs significant reskilling to work with AI. And crucial infrastructure projects like the high-speed rail have faced some serious delays. But the opportunities are equally massive. The chance to become a leader in AI, a hub for the green economy, and a global magnet for the world's best talent. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Thailand is navigating this incredibly complex transition, and it's defined by its own unique pressures and ambitions. So the real question is this bold pivot a repeatable blueprint that other nations can follow? Or is it a fascinating, high-stakes story that is entirely and uniquely its own?